Cancer can affect anyone, anywhere, anytime. My name is Rishabh and I'm one of the co-founders of Kalaa for Charity. And today I'll be sharing with you my story relating with cancer. The story starts off from my childhood. When I was little, I had a toy scooter which I loved to ride around the house. My mother used to keep a close eye on me, making sure that I didn't do anything cheeky. Often, when my mother wasn't looking, I would sneak out of the house with my scooter and head towards the main road. My mother would then start chasing behind me. I would look back and I would start pedaling even faster, just to make sure that she doesn't catch me. But eventually, she managed to chase me down all the time. This is one of the most fondest memories I have of my mother. She passed away on the 11th of October 2012 from the reoccurrence of bowel cancer. I still remember 5 years ago, the time when her doctor came into her room to inform us about her condition for the first time. The expression on the doctor's face could tell the seriousness of the condition without her even saying anything. I was shocked to hear the news, but it didn't really hit me because I could not really emphasize what suffering from cancer really meant. My mother was a very courageous patient. After initial diagnosis, she underwent surgeries as well as a series of radio and chemotherapy sessions. It is ironic these treatments cure the patient from cancer, but also take a strong toll on their general well-being. Watching my mother's journey, I slowly started to realize what suffering from cancer really meant. I still remember accompanying her to her chemotherapy sessions, looking at her eyes, which could clearly tell how much pain she was in. But she would still smile, looking at me, knowing I was there by her side. With the good work of the doctors and my mother's courage, she successfully recovered from her initial diagnosis. In April 2012, my sister got married. It was a time of celebration. We were all very excited. My mother was really happy. In fact, it was probably the happiest I have seen her for a long time. Then came 1st of September 2012. I was really happy. I was back with the family and it was my first day in my new role. Then at lunchtime, my phone rings. It was my dad. He told me that my mother had been hospitalized as she was really sick. We soon found out that it was the recurrence of the bowel cancer. She was taken into surgery as soon as possible, but they later found out that the cancer had spread to her bones. I still remember the doctor telling us that news to my mother. She tried to keep a brave face, but the tears rolling down her cheeks gave it away. From that day, her health quickly degraded, as she was unable to speak for most of the time. However, one day, she managed to build up the courage to speak to me. And she said, "I might not be able to live, son, but I will always be with you." I remember sitting beside her at her last moments, her eyes staring at me, pleading for help as she was in severe pain. It reminded me of my memory when I used to make my mother chase after me. Just in this case, it seemed she was the one riding on the scooter, and I was the one trying to chase her down. Even though I was sitting right beside her, I knew this was a race. I was never going to win. She passed away, and after she passed away, I started to think back about what she had said to me, and it slowly starts to make sense. Whether we like it or not, death is an inevitable part of everyone's life. However, what people do leave behind after they pass away is the values and qualities they stand for in their whole life. One of the foundations of Kalaa for Charity is the memory of my mother. One thing she really stood by was giving back to the people. In fact, she was the happiest when she had the opportunity to give gifts to people. Therefore, one of Kalaa for Charity's biggest aim is to give back to the people in the community and to help those in need. A Night to Remember, our first event, to me personally is a pun. For me, it is a night to remember those who have suffered, who are suffering from cancer, in the hope that by doing this event, we will be able to help find a cure for this deadly disease. A Night to Remember is also a promise to you that we will work hard to make sure that you have a night to remember. So come and join us in our cause, either by joining us in our event on the 15th of March 2014 or by donating to our cause by visiting our Facebook page. And on behalf of Kalaa for Charity, we wish you and your family a happy and prosperous New Year 2014.